And yes, in case you were wondering, are you a cool mom or not? All moms are cool. Don't worry. I think I've got my favorite, but I'm going to leave that up to you. And of course, underpinning the need to layer up this winter, we have stepped into May. Officially, South Africa is now facing an interesting mix of weather extremes. While the Western Cape braces for a drier than usual winter, which is quite interesting. Parts of Johannesburg and KZN recently experiencing very heavy rainfall and flash flooding affecting a lot of people. Some severe conditions also reported in Lesotho. So with those colder months now, definitely engaged and shifting climate patterns, understanding the causes and the impacts of this weather, I think is more important than ever. So we are really blessed this morning to be inviting in meteorologist Michelle du Plessis to unpack what's really going on and what to expect as winter deepens across the country. Michelle, thank you for stepping in to save all of us, because we joke about the crazy weather in Cape Town, the crazy weather up north. South Africa has experienced extreme weather at the moment. So maybe we can start with the Western Cape, because I think it's always surprising to people when we don't have rain solidly for 4 weeks in winter. Yeah. Are we staring down a drier than normal winter here in Cape Town?
Yeah, so the recent seasonal forecast from the South African Weather Service as well as the University of Pretoria is showing that we are expecting a slightly drier than normal end to autumn, but also winter. So we are expecting below normal rainfall. But with that, it's also really important to mention that even though the models are showing that we are expecting slightly drier than normal conditions, it doesn't mean we won't have any cold fronts or any kind of low pressure systems bringing heavy rain. So we might still see 1 or 2 strong cold fronts or kind of low pressure systems moving over the southwestern Cape, bringing heavy rain, possibly snowfall, bringing strong winds and rough seas like we see every winter. But when we look back at the season, it will most likely show that we had below normal average.
Okay, but still low-lying areas, we need to be prepared for that intense rainfall if it does come, because I think it always seems to catch us by surprise. Yeah.
Especially over the mountainous areas like we see in Franschhoek. When we get strong cold fronts, they usually get flooding, even in Stellenbosch. But yes, it's still necessary to be prepared for those strong cold fronts, even if we are expecting a slightly drier.
A warning has been heeded. Maybe we've used up all the rain, because there has been so much rain up north. It has been very wet. What has been driving this?
It's been an extremely wet season, and especially in April, we've seen some
massive
heavy rainfall. So we had a couple of strong upper air systems that moved across the country this last month, bringing heavy and persistent rainfall, especially to the central and northeastern regions of the country. We saw some areas receiving between 200 and 400 percent of their normal April rainfall, and areas in the Free State, KwaZulu-Natal, Northwest, and even in the Western Cape saw more than 4 times their normal April rainfall. So I know early in April, Porterville received like 90 millimeters of rain in just 1 hour, leading to buildings being flooded, roads turning into rivers. And then we also saw that the dams are overflowing, like you mentioned earlier, and these massive amounts of water are currently streaming down the Vaal and Orange rivers, posing serious flooding concerns for communities along these rivers. We've seen some places that's literally only the roofs of buildings were still
and when it looks great
water.
On social media, you're aware of what that means for the residents in that area. What is driving this? Is this an overarching climate change kind of indication? Are you drawing those kind of parallels? Is this a short-term anomaly? What do you think has driven this?
So firstly, I want to mention that one single wet season or one single storm can't directly be linked to climate change. So the climate has always been changing, but what we are seeing is that global temperatures are currently rising faster than anticipated due to human activities. So we are seeing more frequent severe weather events, more frequent heavy rainfall, but then also we are seeing longer dry spells and prolonged heat waves. So it's really important to adapt and be prepared for this unpredictable weather.
Maybe a good place to summate, because I know we can get back into the usual subjects or suspects like the El Niños and things like that. But from a practical sense here in South Africa, because we almost have to brace for each season now when we look at the fallouts in the social development space, what should we prepare for? What do you think is the scary part about winter in South Africa, or what should we brace for, do you think?
So we know winter always comes with its own risks. We know it's been a wet season over the interior of the country, and the ground's extremely saturated. So with the ground being so saturated, it can lead to more frequent frost events during the winter. So farmers and gardeners should be prepared to see more frost during the winter. But then for coastal regions, we know that we can still see 1 or 2 strong cold fronts, like I mentioned earlier, bringing heavy rainfall, even snowfall, rough seas and strong winds like we see every winter. But then also people try to stay warm during winter, and since we are expecting a drier than normal winter, there's a huge fire risk with communities using gas heaters, open fires and fireplaces, so accidental fires can happen. So we need to be prepared and on the lookout for those.
Oh, thank you for giving us a whole new fear to add to the other list. No, thank you so much for doing what you do. I think we all just assume that these things get done by somebody, but we never really actually hone in on those people that are taking the time to disseminate. So thank you so much for making this your purpose in our world. We know the weather can be extreme, but we also are forewarned. So please go into winter with an educated mind. You know your area, even if it's lower than expected rainfall, expect something and just be prepared. Michelle, we love you and your team. Thank you so much. Good luck for winter.
Thanks.
Stay warm.